Have you ever stood in a crowded room and felt like you came from another planet? Have you ever longed for connection, but the harder you tried, the more distant and blurry it felt? If you're neurodivergent, someone whose brain perceives, thinks, and responds differently, then connecting with others isn't just hard, it can be painful. In today's video, we'll explore why connecting feels so hard when you're neurodivergent. Not to complain, but to understand. Not to blame, but to find clues for healing. And most importantly, to let you know, you are not alone. Part 1, your brain isn't broken, it's just different. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and instantly felt out of place? Not because you didn't want to talk, but because you had no idea how to start. Someone cracks a joke, everyone laughs. You laugh too, but inside, you're thinking, wait, what just happened? Have you ever felt like you're watching a movie where everyone knows the script, except you? Puzzle piece: how does a neurodivergent brain process the world differently? People who are neurodivergent, like those with autism, ADHD, sensory processing differences, or other non-typical neurotypes, often take in and process information in very unique ways. Sounds, lights, movement, facial expressions, they can all flood in at once, creating a storm of input that overwhelms the brain quickly. A neurotypical brain might filter out the noise during a conversation. But you? You hear everything at once: people chatting, the hum of the AC, harsh fluorescent lights, someone's eyes watching you. You're not socially weak. You're just trying to translate every line of a book that others seem to skim through effortlessly. Brain social interaction, a game with no clear rules. Communication isn't just words, it's tone, eye contact, timing, hidden cues. When you're neurodivergent, these unspoken rules are anything but obvious. Someone frowns, are they angry? Thinking? In pain? Someone says I'm fine, do they mean it? Or are they upset? Someone invites you to hang out, do they really want to? Or are they just being polite? You're not socially awkward. You're honest, in your own way. But sadly, society often mistakes honesty for a lack of subtlety. Direct hits: so no, you're not lazy at connecting. You're fighting a silent battle. Every small conversation can feel like a complex social puzzle. You're constantly analyzing, second-guessing. Did I say something wrong? Do they think I'm weird? And afterward, your brain feels like it just ran a marathon. This isn't your fault. This is how your brain works: honest, sensitive, and powerfully unique. Part 2, masking, when you have to act to be accepted. You walk into a social event. You've prepped all morning, picked out a normal outfit, rehearsed how to say, "Hey, how have you been?" You tune into every laugh, trying to keep up. You smile, not because you feel happy, but because you have to look happy. That's masking, pretending to be normal to be accepted. A performance that lasts for hours, unseen by anyone. Performing arts: what is masking? And why is it so damaging? Masking is when a neurodivergent person mimics neurotypical behavior to avoid judgment, rejection, or exclusion. You learn to laugh at the right times. Make eye contact, even if it feels like sharp needles. Hide your anxiety, confusion, exhaustion, so no one notices anything unusual. You're performing a socially acceptable version of yourself, while your true self gets buried, silenced, forgotten. Bomb: the cost of pretending to fit in. Masking might help you blend in, temporarily. But the cost is high. Emotional burnout. Disconnection from your true self. A constant undercurrent of shame for having to hide who you are. Studies show that long-term masking is linked to anxiety, depression, and a fading sense of identity. You begin to wonder, Which version of me is real? The one I show, or the one I'm hiding every day? Puzzle piece masking isn't a choice, it's often a survival strategy. As a child, maybe you were scolded for being different. You learned. If I speak my truth, people pull away. If I react honestly, they'll call me weird. So you started hiding your natural self. You're not trying to be fake. You're just trying to survive in a world that doesn't understand you yet. Sparkles, and that's why even small interactions leave you drained. Not because you're shy or antisocial, but because every time you show up, you're holding up a mask, never fully able to breathe. And when you finally get home, you crash. Empty. Depleted. Like a phone that's been glowing all day, but never charged. You're not lazy. You're not fragile. You're simply running a social marathon while others stroll across flat ground. Seedling, final message of this section: you don't have to mask to deserve connection. Remember this. Real connection doesn't come from perfection, it comes from honesty. And you deserve to connect in ways that don't hurt you. Part 3: The invisible loneliness, surrounded, yet alone. You're there. Present. You smile when needed, nod when someone says something interesting. You're standing in a room full of people. But somehow, it feels like you're watching everything through a thick pane of glass. No one truly sees you. No one truly touches the world inside you. Ice Cube: not belonging, a feeling hard to explain, but deeply familiar. For neurodivergent individuals, loneliness doesn't always come from being alone, it comes from not being understood or accepted for who you really are. You open up, share something you think is honest, and are met with strange looks, awkward silences, or deflective replies. You talk about your fears, the overwhelm, the way your brain sees the world, and in return you hear, "You're overthinking." Everyone feels that way sometimes. You just haven't tried hard enough. Slowly, you learn. Being honest is a risk. And loneliness becomes the safest place to be. Brain: your inner world is rich, but no one seems to hear it. You may feel things more intensely, deeply, or in more layers than most. A small sound can completely derail your focus. A simple conversation can replay in your mind for hours, not because you're overreacting, but because you process everything so deeply. But since you can't always express what you feel with ease, people mistake you for being distant, cold, or strange. And so, you grow quieter. Broken heart loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of understanding. You have friends, followers, family. Yet you still feel like you're from another planet. You crave someone patient enough to understand you, without making you perform. You long for a conversation where you don't have to translate yourself, line by line. The deepest kind of loneliness is being in a crowd, but no one actually sees that you're there. Seedling, closing message: you're not invisible, the world just hasn't learned to see you clearly yet. Closing scene: the main character quietly leaves the party, steps outside, takes a deep breath, and smiles softly, as if they've just found their way back to themselves. If you've ever felt like you don't belong anywhere, know this: there are others like you. They're out there too, searching for that one look, that one voice, that one true connection. And maybe, the first person you need to connect with is yourself. From there, you'll begin to find those who see you even before you speak. Part 4: You speak a different language. And no one bothers to learn it. Imagine, you were born speaking heart language, a language of honesty, depth, detail, and emotion. But the world speaks social. A language of brevity, ambiguity, small talk, and often, pretending. You try to say something genuine, they awkwardly smile. You share your passion, they change the subject. You react sincerely, they say, you're being dramatic. And you start to wonder, am I wrong? Or am I just speaking the wrong language? Speech balloon when communication feels like an off-key song. Neurodivergent people often value clarity, detail, and sincerity. But society often favors being pleasant, appropriate, and keeping face. Examples. You say, I didn't enjoy that conversation. You're being honest. But they think you're rude. You get straight to the point, they say you lack subtlety. You don't laugh because it wasn't funny, they say you're cold. It's ironic. The world tells you to be yourself, then punishes you every time you try. Puzzle piece connection can't happen if only one side keeps translating. Communication is a two-way street, but neurodivergent people are often the only ones expected to translate. You decode facial cues, read between the lines, pretend to laugh. While few even try to understand your language. What hurts the most? When you speak in your truest voice, and silence is what you get back. Fire, but your language isn't wrong. Your honesty is valuable. Your directness isn't rude, it's brave. Your refusal to fake things isn't immature, it's deeply authentic. You don't need to master social fluently. You just need to find the right people, the ones who speak heart language too. Seedling closing message, if your language is different, don't lose it to fit in. Real connection doesn't come from mimicking others. It comes when someone pauses, listens, and says, I get you. And you deserve those conversations. No translation. No mask. Just you. Part 5, Social Fatigue, you're just talking. So what's so exhausting? You just had a social interaction. Nothing major, just chatting, laughing, answering questions. But now your body feels heavy, your mind is foggy, your heart's racing, your throat is dry. You're too drained to even reply to a text. Then someone asks, what's the big deal? You didn't do anything, just talked. You smile. Lightly. And say nothing. High voltage for neurodivergent people, socializing drains energy at a high level. Every eye contact you force yourself to make. Every response you carefully craft to sound just right. Every interruption you endure while trying not to mentally unravel. Every second you adjust your facial expression to look normal. It's like running multiple tabs in your brain, all at once. And your mind? It's overheating from processing too much at the same time. Brain the feeling of being smothered even if no one's touching you. You deal with background noise that gives you a headache. Fast-paced conversations that leave you lost. Sudden changes in plans. Jokes or sarcasm you can't quite decode in time. While others are relaxing, your nervous system is strung tight, just trying not to react weirdly. Socializing for a neurodivergent person isn't a walk in the park. It's a silent climb up a mental mountain, every minute of it. Counterclockwise arrows button after interaction comes the crash. You get home. You collapse. Your brain feels like it's melting. It might take you hours, or even days, to recover. You avoid calls, ignore messages, withdraw even from loved ones, not because you don't care, but because you've used up all your social energy. It's not apathy. It's depletion. A kind of exhaustion the world doesn't even have words for yet. Stop sign and worse. Is the guilt of not being like everyone else. You wonder. Why is this easy for others but not for me? What's wrong with me? Am I weak? Am I selfish? Or just not built for this life? But you're not broken. You just have a different operating system. You can't force yourself to run Windows when you're pure Linux at heart. Seedling closing message, you're not lazy, you're using triple the energy to do what others call normal. Closing scene, the main character wrapped in a soft blanket, resting in warm light. A tablet screen reads, "Today, I tried my best, and that is enough." If you feel completely drained after social interaction, know that you're not strange, you're just wired differently. And what you need isn't to be more like them, but to give yourself rest, in your own way, with grace. Part 6, the inner conflict, longing for connection, yet afraid of it. There's a strange kind of pain many neurodivergent people carry. It's not that they don't want connection. It's that they deeply crave closeness, while fearing that very closeness might end up hurting them. High-voltage loneliness doesn't come from the absence of people, but from the absence of being truly seen. You could be sitting in a group, smiling, chatting. But deep inside, there's that quiet ache. That no one really gets you. That no matter how hard you try, you still can't fully express who you are. And when this happens over and over, year after year, it leaves behind an invisible scar. One part of you wants to open up, wants to be embraced. But another part whispers, "Don't. They'll just let you down again." Counterclockwise arrows button, your mind gets stuck between two poles, I want to and I'm scared to. I want someone to listen, but I'm scared they'll dismiss my differences. I want a group of friends, but I'm scared I'll be excluded again. I want to love, but I'm scared they'll leave once they see the real me. So you pull back. You stay quiet. And then, you blame yourself. Why can't I be like everyone else? What's wrong with me? The longing burns quietly within you. But the fear freezes every step you try to take. Brain, the neurodivergent brain remembers pain, deeper and longer. Many neurodivergent people carry vivid memories of past social wounds. Being laughed at for sharing something they loved. Being misunderstood for expressing genuine emotions. Being called weird, too much, or too sensitive. These memories don't fade easily. They become internal warning systems, keeping you in a state of social alertness. When you've been hurt for being yourself enough times, your brain begins to believe connection equals danger. So even when your heart craves closeness, your body tenses up the moment someone gets near. Puzzle piece, this conflict is not weakness, it's a reflex born from a heart that's tried too hard, too often. The fact that you still want connection shows your heart has never truly shut down. The fact that you're still afraid doesn't mean you're fragile. It means you've been brave too many times, and got hurt. This inner conflict isn't your fault. It's the result of a long, lonely journey, where you had to be both the seeker of love and the builder of your own walls. Seedling closing message, you can learn to reconnect, starting with yourself. Connection doesn't always have to begin with someone else. It begins the moment you hold your fear gently and say, "I understand why I'm scared, and I will still try to open up, slowly, bit by bit." Because you don't have to sprint towards someone to feel connection. Sometimes, just not turning away from yourself is already a powerful step towards something real. Connection doesn't always come from similarity. Sometimes, it begins with one honest moment when someone dares to say, "I'm not like you, but I want to understand you." If you've ever asked yourself, why does connecting feel so hard when you're neurodivergent? I hope this video has offered you empathy, relief, and a small light along the way. Don't forget, you deserve to be understood, to be seen, and to be loved, without having to become a more palatable version of yourself for the world. If you saw yourself in any part of this, like, share, and leave a comment. Because sometimes, all it takes is one honest voice to connect with many others who've been quietly feeling the same way.